So did you have people on deck?
You know how people are using the term roster? I invented that at like 18, so that's nothing new.
Yo, what's poppin', people? Thank you for tuning in. It's your boy, David Picasso. Welcome to the Odex podcast. Today we have a special guest, extremely intelligent, beautiful, sexy, all the above. She goes by Rachel. What's poppin', Rachel?
Yo, what's good?
How are you, man? How you feeling?
I feel good.
Yo.
Like, your vibe is nice as hell.
You like it?
Oh, I fuck with this.
You fuck with it?
I told you when I was pulling in, it was the first apartment I saw, and I was like, damn, that's sick as shit.
As long as we get the lighting on point, then no, we're good. Let's talk about your outfit. Walk us through your outfit, man. It's one thing I've noticed when the first time I met you, like, your outfit. Like, it's different. It's not your traditional, you know what I'm saying, like one piece most girls be wearing nowadays, Fashion Nova.
Yeah, hell no.
All right, let's talk about it then.
Absolutely not. I don't know. I feel like fashion should really be an expression of yourself.
Facts.
And whenever I see like Fashion Nova, and no shame to the girls that wear Fashion Nova, but it's like I don't want to look like every other like basic bitch in LA.
Facts.
And like LA is just like carbon copies, I swear to God.
Yes.
Like when people come and say like LA looks like an Instagram Explore page, it's like, well, no shit. Because they all are. They're just looking at what's trending on the Explore page. And I'm just like, when you're 80 years old, you're going to look back at your pictures and be like, the fuck?
I love when people express themselves, whether it's through their clothing. I feel like certain men that paint their nails, they get a lot of backslash as far as being negative about them being gay or whatever it may be. I don't feel like that's odd. I feel like that's very normal if that's the way they want to express themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've always hated that, like where they'll look at a guy that like is more of that femme kind of alternative look, like the painted nails, kind of the eyeliner, and go off by saying they're gay. I'm like, they fine as shit.
Yeah,
because they're different.
Yeah. I feel like, like right now there's a Latin artist. I'm just gonna bring up. You might not know him, but he goes by Bad Bunny. So he dresses like a woman. He does this, and I'm thinking like, yo, just leave the kid alone. It's just who he is. Like, it doesn't mean he's gay. It's just he expresses that. Like, whoever said that a dress means woman? Like, I don't know. I don't understand it. Fashion, it was based on the designer's viewpoint. Does that make sense? So he can dress however he feels like dressing, and as long as he's a male, he's the only one that knows anyways at the end of the day. But anyways, going back to your outfit, I just think it's dope as hell. So I just wanted to give you a compliment on that. It's so sick. So you put it all together?
Yeah.
Like, how do you go based on what you're gonna rock? Like, is black your favorite color?
I only own black clothes. I don't own a single piece of anything with any other color.
Word.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's all black.
All black.
So if I was to rate your closet right now, everything's black.
Everything's black. Every shoe, every underwear, every sock, every shirt, every pants.
And
I don't wear shorts.
Has it always been this way?
Yeah. So, okay, I went through like a few really weird phases. Like, I grew up in that like more of that like punk rock scene kind of look.
Gotcha.
Curly ass hair though. So you know how they all had those layers? So I just had a big poodle right here with these long hair. And then I was wearing socks on my arms that came up to here that were like black and red striped. I wore like black corduroy shorts down to my knees and moon boots.
Okay.
But I loved it. But I did go through this phase when I joined the basketball team of wearing knee-high basketball socks, Jordans, and basketball clothes every single day.
Do we have pictures of that somewhere? Not with you right now, but
they ain't gonna see them. But yeah, it was bad. Like my dad keeps all of those photos just so he could be like, you looked stupid. And I'm like, thank you so much.
What nationality are you, by the way?
I'm Arab, so I'm Lebanese and Israeli. Okay,
so how do you refer to your dad, just for clarification?
I refer to him as Baba.
Baba, got you. So, that's dope. But that means dad, right?
That means dad.
Yeah, for the people like myself that wouldn't know. Okay, got you. So I want you to refer to him as Baba, because that's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's dope.
There's this one horrible experience that I had, though, because like in America, I don't know how it started, but like women started calling their boyfriends daddy. And so I had this one man, and like Baba means like it's very special in Arabic.
Okay.
So like you'll refer to your dad as Baba, but he also refers to you as Baba. And even though it means like father, like dad, it's like a term of endearment, very special.
Okay.
And so I had to break up with this guy because he was like, oh, so you're gonna call me Baba now, baby? And I was like, oh my God, I just had a flash of a 60-year-old like Jewish man with no, I'm not, I can't do this, because every time I look at you now, I'm gonna flash to my father. It was horrible. But like I understand the relation, because people do like papi and like daddy, and I'm like, it doesn't, we don't do the same.
So with the men you've dated, did you call them daddy, or that's not a thing that you use?
So in Arabi, that means Arabic. In Arabi, we will refer to our boyfriends as Habibi.
That was the next question. So I have a best friend. His name is Hani. Shout out to Hani. He calls me Habibi, and he explained that word to me. But I mean, it's been so long that I just hear it all the time. So
yeah, so it's not just for boyfriends. You use Habibi for a male and Habibiti for a female. It means my babe or like my love.
Okay.
So you'll hear like parents call their children Habibi or Habibiti. You're like really close friends.
Got
but
you.
like you use it a lot in relationships as well.
Got you. So, okay, I appreciate clarification on that. Let's talk a little bit about your upbringing. So, were you born here?
I was actually born in Denver, Colorado, but I was only there for 3 days.
Okay.
And then I was brought over here to Los Angeles with my mom.
Okay, got you. Were you being born in Denver? Was that an accident? Like she was on vacation or travel?
Yeah, it was an accident.
Okay,
so
got you.
I was premature because I like fell through my mom's sack.
Okay.
I don't even know how that happens. She was irresponsible. She probably did something. And so she had to go to the hospital and pulled me out. And then we came here. Yeah, trust me, the woman didn't want to either. She always tells the story. She's like, I was so annoyed. You were such an inconvenience when I had to give birth to you. I'm like,
no, shut your ass up. Really?
Deadass.
That's her story?
Deadass. I'm like, woman, have you never heard of a condom then? Like, I don't know what to tell you. Don't drink while you're pregnant. I don't know what other advice to give you, but like, that's on you.
Right. Okay, so you come to California. Mm-hmm. You were raised, what part of California? California's kind of big, so.
Yeah, so I'm from Southern California. Okay. So we were originally in like the South Central area.
Okay.
When I was being raised with my mom and I had 2 other siblings. We went back and forth between South Central and we were also in San Diego for a little bit.
Okay.
But not very often. To be honest, my mom, her career path was marriage. So she would like find men. So like whenever we were in San Diego, it was basically for a man. So, you know, she sucked. So it lasted like a few months and then we'd come back to South Central.
Okay, got it. And how long did this last?
I was with my mom in Southern California until I was about 11 years old.
Okay.
And then she told me and my half siblings to like pack up our stuff because we were going to visit our grandparents. But instead, I was dropped off in the middle of like nowhere at 3 in the morning in a city called Lake Havasu. And she never came back. It was such a young age that I don't really feel like you know what to think. It didn't really hit me until probably like a month later that she wasn't coming back. Because, you know, as a kid, you can't really process nor do you even understand what like being abandoned is. So I truly thought she was going to be coming back and I was living with the new family. As a child, it was like my mom doesn't want me. My mom doesn't love me. Like, why not? And now as I've gotten older, and maybe it's the lawyer in me that's really rational, it was kind of just like she had to do what she had to do almost. Like she couldn't keep 3 kids. She couldn't support 3 kids. And even though it's unbelievably selfish, she had this lifestyle that she wanted to live. And that didn't include us. So as an adult, I'm not angry at it anymore. More of it's just an example for me of what not to be.
Got you. Now, I noticed you were very subtle when you said as a lawyer. Can you let people know what's your career in?
Yes, I am a defense attorney in California.
That's wild, bro. So for your followers or for my followers or whatever, whoever subscribed, go check out her Instagram and you understand why it's incredible to believe that you are an attorney. That's crazy. But let's go back to this. So what happens, man? Because you mentioned another family.
Yeah, so I lived with another family for, I believe, until I was about 15. Now, I didn't spend the whole year there. A little bit into it, there were state mandated visits with my mom. So I was going back and forth between Havasu and California at the time. I don't really talk about the family too much just because, as crazy as it sounds, living with my mom, especially in such a rough area, was horrible. Like, people literally broke into our place and like tried to kill us, tried to rape us, tried to do like these horrible things. But the most traumatizing part of my life was like living with that other family. And I just don't talk about it or them at all for a couple of reasons. The first reason is they do have kids. One is like 20 and one is like 23 now or something like that. And I just find it so disrespectful to put out their parents on a platform where they can see it,
right,
and stuff like that. And so I always just try to give a certain amount of respect to everybody, even if it's not given back to me. And then like the second reason too is I do have a platform that I can speak on. You know, I have TikTok, which gets hundreds of thousands of views, and I have Instagram that has 24,000 followers, and I don't feel that it's my place to be able to talk about them when they don't have a platform back.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
to
understand.
speak about, because
For
to me
sure.
that's just foul.
Okay. So yeah, no, you go through the scope of being with this family, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to understand is how do you go from being dropped off in that area where you don't know anyone to the point where this family takes you?
No, they did not adopt me.
Okay.
So they had to take me in.
They had to.
Yes. So they had to take me in basically just through like courts and stuff like that. So I was there because they were related to me.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So they didn't want me. I never knew them.
Okay.
But they had to.
Got to.
Because they were related to me.
Got it. All right. So you leave that home at one point, right?
Yes.
What age?
I left at almost 16.
16. Okay. So let's just say 16. You leave. What happens then? What's the next chapter look like?
So basically, I mean, I didn't want to be there. Let's just be frank. And they definitely 100% didn't want me either. So they kicked me out and I had nowhere to go. So I was pretty much basically homeless at 16, kind of sofa surfing around, trying to figure out my life. I was working as like a janitor at this inn, kind of like this bar and grill inn place. And then my mom was actually dating and got married to who is now my adopted dad, who I'm referring to as Bubba. And he found out that she had 3 kids and 2 of them lived with their dad and I was by myself. And so he got me and he was able to get legal guardianship through the courts in order to have me. But it lasted about 3 months. And honestly, he was never there. And my mom and I just did not get along, and it was so much of, you didn't raise me, so don't fucking tell me what to do.
Right.
And you know, you're a teenager, you already have angst and stuff like that, and I did horrible things, like I put my hands on her and stuff like that, so I left. And so then I was living by myself again at 16. I came back to California and I got my own little like trap apartment with my little trap phone. I pulled a mattress in from the dumpster, a pot from the dumpster, and I would heat water in the pot to put into the bathtub because it's the only way I could have warm water. And I mean, I did some shady ass shit for money, like shady shit for money. You know, I still had a legal job as well during the time. And then at 17, I was like, fuck it. Like, you're either going to like die, end up in jail, or you're going to go to school and you're going to like have to pick one. So I ended up then moving to Tempe, Arizona, where I went to ASU.
And this is at 16?
So I started college at 17.
17. Where did you go in high school?
I stopped high school after my first year, so I actually finished up online through an online program. So California offers an online education that I was able to get. Somehow was able to do 3 years of high school in like 2 months.
No.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
But you had to take a test, right? Or sure.
Yeah. I mean, all the tests, because you're able to work at your own pace. So you can
Okay.
go as fast or as slow as you want with this online course, school, whatever it's called. And that's what I did.
And so you went pretty fast.
Yeah, I went fast as hell.
Fuck. So walk me through this process of doing this online course. Like, you were just not sleeping? Like, I'm just trying to understand, how do you do all that in 2 months, bro?
I honestly don't remember the last time I've slept, but the one positive thing is like, I'm a procrastinator. I'm just going to admit that.
Are you really?
I
It
really
doesn't sound
am.
like it.
I know, but like the great thing about being a procrastinator is that you learn how to do like years of work in like a very small amount of time.
That is facts, bro. For
I
sure,
mean, that's
I
a
agree.
trait I have that like
Yeah.
very few people can say they have.
I feel like I am too, but I understand what you're saying. So, okay, so then you choose Arizona, and why did you choose Arizona to go there?
You know, I don't know, because I never been to Tempe ever.
Okay.
But I didn't want to be in California anymore.
Okay.
And I didn't want to be in Nevada because of absolutely no reason. I just didn't like it for the few months that I was there. And I'll never remember, I got a plane ticket to go out because I used to take like the bus.
Okay.
Like back and forth. And then I was like, fuck it. Like I have to move my whole pot over to ASU. So I got a plane ticket to go there and I was so pissed because I had this image of what Tempe would look like. I heard all about ASU, like this party school, like all the pictures looked dope. And the pilot was like, welcome to Arizona, everybody. And I flew up the damn like blind and I was pissed There was no bodies of water. There was nothing. It just looked dry. And I get off the plane and it's like 130 degrees. And I was like, oh, you're a dumb bitch. And it was hot as hell. I will never forget that. But ASU was like the only school I applied to.
Okay, so then you started attending though, right?
Yeah, then I started attending.
And then you're 17 at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to understand, how do you go from, like, are you staying in campus or?
Yeah, so my first year I was on campus. You know, everything's going to sound like I'm a liar because you're like thinking like, how did this girl like graduate so quickly? But I also got into the honors college at ASU.
Okay.
It's probably like my compelling story
Okay.
that gets me places. But I got into the honors college, so I was staying on campus in the Barrett honors dorms for the first semester. And then this also is going to sound something like, bitch, you were in a sorority, what? So then, yeah, because I had no friends, and you can't be a goth-looking loser all by yourself in Arizona. It's full of Fashion Nova bleach blonde hair.
Oh,
I had to fit in somewhere. So I went and rushed, and then I lived in the sorority housing for about a year after that. But then I went back to being homeless. But I was still in school.
How does that work while you're going to school?
So what ended up happening was when I went to college, I pulled out a bunch of loans. And then when I was 18 years old, my dad left my mom because she was cheating on him. And I honestly thought like he was going to leave my life because we didn't really have a relationship at that time. And then my baba called me and was like, just to let you know, just because me and your mom are not together doesn't mean I'm going to leave your life. Like, I love you. So like, let me help you. And so he started helping me. And then when I was 19, he filed for bankruptcy. And so he called me and was like, you need to drop out of school and move to Vegas and like get a job and help. And I told him like, absolutely not. Like, I can't do that. Like, I can't stop my education. Like, it's too important. It's too big of a thing. Like, I don't care what's thrown at my way. I'm going to finish this.
Right.
So I had to move out of the dorms. Thank God I had a car. So I wasn't on the streets. I was in a car. Let's just preference that, because I don't want people to like think I'm living on the streets, because then like, you know, that's really not that realistic. I was living in a car and I parked it in front of this apartment complex that was near ASU because one, it was lit, so it was safe. Like, park your car under there, no one's really gonna fuck with it.
Okay.
And then also it was like a motivation to me because I was like, I want to live here and I need to get enough money to live here. So I talked to my ASU counselors and I switched all of my classes to online. And by this time, I mean, you've heard I'm a pro at online schooling. Yeah. So then I started working probably like 16 to 18 hours a day. My first job was at a salon. Okay. And so I had to be at the salon by 8 a.m., which means I had to leave at 7 in the morning. So I'd wake up at 6, start being on the road at 7. I would get there at 8, work till 4. I would leave and drive to my second job. I had to be there at 5, where I was a hostess, and I would be a hostess from 5 to 9:30, and then 9:30 until like 3 in the morning, I was a dancer, so I was a stripper.
What age are we on right now? 18?
No, I'm at 19.
You're 19, okay.
19.
Okay.
So then I would go home, and then I would study and go to sleep for about an hour and a half and repeat it. And I did that every single day for over a year. I got enough money to put a security deposit on that apartment, which I was so proud of. Paid in singles, don't care. Dirty ass singles don't care. So now I'm no longer homeless. I am now in 20 something, like not 21 yet. Then after I saved up enough money, I quit that salon job and was no longer a hostess. Then I was doing bottle service and dancing probably 4 to 5 nights out of the week. So I was probably working 8 to 10 hours a day.
Really quick question. So when you were in your car, right? You're homeless in your car. Where do you shower?
So ASU has like a gym, like an actual gym, like 3 stories gym. And you get to use it when you're an ASU student, like you have your student card. Right. So I would go into that gym, never worked out. I don't work out. That's not my thing. That's not my journey. It's not for me. Could be for you, not for me.
Could be for you.
And so I would go and I would shower and get ready there.
Wow, bro. How long did the car situation happen? Like, how long was that?
It didn't last too long, thank God. It was probably a max of 5 months, probably around 4. So I had enough money from pretty much dancing to be able to put down a deposit on the apartment. But because I couldn't prove like income and I couldn't prove like 3 months of income, I had to stay how I was for 3 more months on top of that. So I would say like a little bit over 4 months.
And then as far as stripping goes, how do you go about making this decision? Like, did someone talk to you about it, or did you imagine you were going to make a lot of money? How does that you make that decision?
So it was one of those situations, to be honest. People have a lot of judgments about certain jobs, and I get it. But whenever people have judgments, I always think, you've never been in the position of survival, and I'm happy for you because I don't want anyone to be in that position. But when you actually are in the moment of needing to survive, you don't really have this back and forth battle of morality unless it's something like truly heinous. But something like stripping to me was just not heinous. And to be honest, we live in a society where majority of men sexualize women, and not only sexualize women, but they put all of a woman's worth on how they look. So don't be mad at us for figuring out how to capitalize off of it.
All right.
And so I figured that out at 19 years old. And I won't lie, the first night, first of all, I looked stupid as hell because I was wearing, oh my God, it was so bad.
You're talking about when you started stripping?
Yeah, my first night, I was really confused because at this place where I was dancing, they would like try to call them shot girls, but they're not really shot girls. You're dancing half naked for money.
Okay.
And so they were like, wear like these pink tiny hot shorts and like a white like bra.
Okay.
And I really had no clue what the hell hot shorts were. So I came in hot pink Nike running shorts and a white beater.
Oh,
and I was just like,
you're from LA.
My God. And Chucks too. I had no idea what I was doing. No idea. Like West Coast LA kid all the way in a bandana. I had a band, like I had the whole thing. And I was like, oh I'm looking at these girls and like their bottoms are like this big and their tops are this big. And I was like, fuck, you look like a dumb bitch. And I got up to dance, and I will admit this, my first night of dancing, I think it was one of the lowest I've ever felt.
Okay.
Like in my life. You know, stripping's very popular now, and people don't degrade it as much as they did degrade it, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And so it was one of those moments in my life where I felt so awful about myself. And the whole time in college, I felt awful about myself for doing it, and felt awful about myself for doing bottle service as well. And I kept thinking in my mind, like, you're too smart for this shit. Like, you're using your body, but you're too smart for this shit. And now in my mid-20s, I wish I could like go back to myself and be like, the only reason why you think this is because society has made everybody think this, because they want to silence people that come from rough areas, and they want to silence people that don't have money and don't have that like elite status, because they see that you know how to grind, you know how to hustle, you know how to survive, and this is just a temporary phase in your life. And it's really the smartest move you can do, because it's the quickest to get money and enough money to buy your education. So I wish I could like go back and be like,
I'm about to start stripping. I'm just saying, like, you put me up on game, right? All right, so you're stripping. Obviously, I feel like that was a moment where money started coming in at a different pace, right?
Yes.
Right, compared to like a regular job, I should say.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're around 21 at this point, right? So you're going to school. Okay, what is your major? What are you majoring on?
So my original major was business, and I've almost failed out of school my first year. So then I switched it to political science.
Okay.
So I ended up graduating with a degree in political science and criminal justice from ASU.
Okay. And so, because obviously you're an attorney now, so what happened in between? How do you end up back in school?
Like, how did I go to law school?
Yeah, how did you end up going back to law school?
So I never took breaks. This whole time that I was working, I was still at ASU, just online. But I knew I wanted to be an attorney way before I went to ASU. Even when I like lost sight of it by, doing shady ass jobs, I knew I wanted to be an attorney when I was really young. I was in the backseat of my mom's car, and she couldn't afford food. So she bought me fries from the dollar menu at McDonald's.
Okay.
And I ate them so quickly because I hadn't eaten in a few days and I was so hungry. And I was laying down on the back seat, and she asked me if I had any fries left, and I told her no, that I ate them all. And I looked in the rearview mirror, and like, she was silently crying. That was the single worst moment in my life that I've ever felt. And it was like in that moment that I was like, you know what, like, I have to do something. Like, I may be young. I was like in the 2nd or 3rd grade. I was like, I may be young, but I have to do something. Like, I have to make a change. I have to make sure that she's not hungry anymore. I have to make sure that my siblings aren't hungry, that I'm not hungry. I took that upon me. And then there was that career day at school where you dress up what you want to be when you grow up. And my mom worked really hard to buy me a blazer. And I went to school wearing this blazer, and they told me to stand up and say what I was. This time I was probably in the 5th grade, and I told them that I was a lawyer. And it was the first time in my life that I felt powerful and I felt respected and I felt proud of myself. And when you come from a certain area and you come from a certain ethnic background, you don't feel powerful a lot, especially growing up. And so I just remember that feeling, and I was like, you absolutely have to chase this.
Obviously, I think it's probably difficult to remember that time because it's so many years ago, but maybe you do, right? What made you say that? Like, you were a baby. I would have just said, a cop or, firefighter, right? Or a basketball player or football player, as a kid. But what made you say that?
Yeah, what made me say an attorney and a lawyer was that no matter what race an attorney is, no matter what gender an attorney is, no matter where an attorney comes from, it is always looked upon as one of the most prestigious jobs. And you look at that person almost like a superhero. You call that person in like your worst time of need. And at the time, I just wanted to feel worthy, I guess, or human or safe or something. And it was the one thing I could say that like gave me power, if that makes any sense.
But how did you figure that out so young though? Like, what did you see it in the news?
No, to be honest, my mind has always worked really strange and really different and very inquisitive. And I'm not saying this like because I am a humble person, but you will honestly not find anybody that thinks like me. And I just never had the opportunity to be a kid ever. So I was thinking so much like an adult, even at a really young age.
Through the legal system that you went through, right? Did you encounter like attorneys and lawyers during that process? How did you even run into that word, like of an attorney or lawyer? Like
a lawyer?
Yeah.
This is gonna sound so cliche. Law and Order SVU.
No.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm so shameful.
Yo, that's crazy how things like that have an impact though.
Biggest impact.
All right, let's switch it up a little bit. Let's talk about dating. You're an attractive woman, and you have, for me, pretty diverse background as far as your upbringing. So when did you have your first boyfriend?
Like first real boyfriend?
Yeah, I would say real boyfriend because I don't know your rap sheet. So, your first real boyfriend.
It's impressive. Don't worry.
It's impressive. Lengthy resume over here.
Yeah. Okay, it's kind of complicated because the first guy that I ever had a crush on and ever had my first kiss with, I was young. I was in the high school era. But then we dated on and off so long that it even lasted into college as well as into law school. So that I would say would be my first real boyfriend.
Okay. Did you experience everything with this young man?
No.
Okay, got you. Now, when you say that's your first real boyfriend, did you guys live together? Did you guys just see each other here and there?
Okay, so he plays in the NFL, and so he was up in the Bay.
From the point you met him?
No, when I first met him, he was not in the NFL yet. Okay. We were both in high school and then in college, and then he went into the NFL after college. I was still in college when he went to the NFL. I started dating him, and so obviously I wasn't seeing him consistently. The most serious that we got was when I was in law school, and I would go, man, I hate him. One person I would punch in the fucking throat would be him. So okay, so I'm in law school. Law school is not an easy thing. I'm just throwing that out there. Yeah. So my first year of law school, I had classes Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and Thursday afternoon, but not night. And so me, like the dumb bitch that I was, would fly out Thursday after school, go be with him all weekend, and I would land Monday morning and go to school.
Where are you flying so we understand how far the flight is?
Okay, it's not that far, but still it's time.
No.
It was in the Bay.
Okay, I got it.
So I was flying out to the Bay, but I was doing this every fucking week.
Wow.
Okay? That's a lot of time. I need to start charging people for wasting my fucking time. So we're dating, and he had a substance abuse problem.
Okay.
And when I say substance abuse, I mean like 2 liters of vodka a day. Like, when you have water by your bed and you drink it at night?
Yeah.
I would hear him drinking. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm thirsty. It was vodka.
No.
Like, he wakes up from his sleep like 3 a.m. and chugs vodka and go back. Like, substance abuse problems. Me still being a dumb bitch, thinking I could fix everybody and solve everybody, even though I can't fix myself. I stuck by it and was trying to help him, and I got him out of jail so many times. I missed my first year of midterms to go fly out to be with him, to help him. My school let me make it up, thank God. But I went out to go be with him and help him. And there was this one lovely, lovely occasion. After like the 700th time we'd broken up, but I was with him and there was this banging at the door, like aggressive banging. And it was this bitch. And I was like, that's weird. Like, the fuck she's so angry about? So I opened the door and she's like, where's Alden? And I was like, the fuck you mean, where's Alden at? Like, he's training. I was like, who the fuck are you? And she holds up her hand.
Oh my God.
I'm his fiance. I was like, well, bitch, I'm just the girlfriend. Come on in. It's more of your home than it is my home. You want some water? Like, can I do anything for you? Let me wash the sheets. Like, fuck. Like, I was so pissed. But then I looked at the ring even more and I was like, this dude gave her the same ring that he proposed to me with that I said no to.
Oh.
And I just sat there and I was like, I think it's time for me to go home.
Oh, wow.
And that was the end of my first real relationship.
Got you. Did you confront him about the situation? Her showing up to the door?
Oh, I did. His exact excuse was, babe, I don't remember proposing to her. I must have been drunk.
No.
Yeah, I was like, oh, really? Drunk enough to have a whole ass relationship? To go take her to a restaurant, get on one knee, and propose? No, you weren't. You were a functioning alcoholic. Don't try to lie.
Oh, shit.
That was his excuse.
So you moved from that relationship, right? From that time to the next serious relationship. I know you told me it was quick, but how quick was it?
I wouldn't say they were like serious, but like in my younger 20s.
Right.
And as well as my teens, I would either cheat on you or I'd be in lots of relationships. So like if one ended, it was not uncommon for me to like have a whole new man in like less than a week.
Whoa, Rachel, slow down. So did you have people on deck?
You know how people are using the term roster? I invented that at like 18, so that's nothing new.
You took football way too serious, bro. You had a roster? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, like I would all just kind of keep them like around.
How do guys get to you though? Because from me talking to you a little bit before the podcast, you're a little low key. Like it's not like you go out a lot.
Okay, so this is gonna make me sound really bad, but every guy I've dated has been a professional athlete.
Okay.
And how that kind of happened was from that first guy, because I knew him at such a young age, especially when he was first starting out.
Right.
Was that these people just kind of saw me and started like following me on Instagram.
Okay, gotcha.
And kind of knew me vicariously through him. Mm-hmm. And then my Instagram kind of took off. And when I was in college, I was also doing stuff for Maxim magazine.
Okay.
As well as like stuff for Playboy as well. Wasn't in the magazine, but I was one of the models that they would hire for events like at the mansion and stuff like that. So there would be athletes like there as well, and so they would follow me. And I know that this sounds like I'm lying, but every person that has asked me out, first of all, it's never in person. I don't know why. I've never actually organically met somebody like at a bar or something and then went out with them. It's always been social media, and it's either like the creepiest and craziest people or it's athletes. And there's never been like, I don't know where you find businessmen. I'm like gonna start applying to be their assistant at this point and be like, want to marry me eventually? But so that's how like I've met everyone I've dated was Instagram.
Got you. Instagram. Can we talk about what's the approach from the DM though?
Oh my God. It's always the dumbest stuff. Like sometimes it would just be that eyeball emoji. You know the one I'm talking about with the two big eyes.
Yeah.
And so I just send it right back.
And that's it?
Yeah. And then they'll like send another emoji and I'll just copy the emoji. And they'll literally be like, so like you gonna say anything? I'm like, no, I'm gonna say something when you give me something intelligent to say.
Right.
To be honest, I think the reason why, because a lot of girls don't actually date athletes.
Okay.
Like especially in Los Angeles, like there's somebody that the athletes fuck.
Okay.
But I think, to be honest, because I'm such an asshole such a bitch, and not a lot of people are that
but
to them.
That's crazy. You call yourself that, but it's hard for me to believe you are.
Sometimes I just throw jokes at myself because it's like, I don't know, defense mechanism. Never saw a therapist, but I probably have so many mental traumas. But it's not that I'm rude, but I'm very blunt.
Okay, that's fair to say. And I can see that within your personality. Yeah, I can see that.
So it can come off rude because there's really no filter that goes on.
Got you.
So really, if they say something stupid to me, I will say something. Like I went on this date with this baseball player and I asked him, like, what was your major in college? Just simple question. Just want to know his major. He goes, goes, man, I just love playing baseball, having thousands of fans like screaming your name. And I was like, motherfucker, did I fucking ask you about baseball? You dumbass. I asked you about your major in fucking college.
Wow, Rachel.
But it was just like,
slow down, mama, slow down.
But I couldn't. I was like,
killed his ego though. Like, what's wrong with you?
Oh, no.
No?
Because then he was finally like a decent, like real human.
He became
Because like
human.
when you first meet people that like, especially like in Los Angeles, you meet these people and like everyone thinks they're hot fucking shit. It does not matter if they have $1 in their bank account or they're Jeff Bezos. Like everyone here thinks they're hot fucking shit. And so when you talk to them for a while, you feel like you're not really getting an honest conversation, a real conversation. Everything's a facade. They have to talk about what they do, their title, their status, their money, because LA puts so much of an emphasis on that like, to be honest, I just want a real fucking conversation.
Gotcha.
So like if I ask you a question and you're gonna start talking about your career, which had nothing to do with the question, I'm just gonna be pissed.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say something to where you're either gonna snap out of it and realize you're a human just like everybody else, or I'm gonna go, because I don't got time for that shit.
Got you. Give me some of the coolest dates. I mean, if you're doing athletes, I'm sure, you know.
Oh, I've had dope dates. I will say that.
Talk about it.
There was this one guy I was dating. He was never my boyfriend, but we were just going on dates.
Yeah.
And I told him that I've never been to New York, and that I really wanted to like go to a jazz bar. Never been to a jazz bar. And he obviously couldn't take me to New York because he was in the middle of season and stuff, but he rented out like all of this restaurant like in West Hollywood, so nobody was in there, and he hired like this jazz band to play, and this person that was on the piano singing, and it was just probably one of the coolest experiences. And I know it sounds simple, but
sounds dope,
it was so dope. It was one of the coolest things that I've ever done. And then let's think what else. I was flown out on a private plane, which I will never be on ever again, to Coachella for a date. That one I was just kind of like, I know that sounds snobby, but like I really didn't want to go to Coachella like at all. Most people at Coachella are like DJs. My phone can do that. I can sit at home.
I see what you're saying.
Like he wanted to go see DJs. So the whole time I'm sitting there like, I work in a strip club. I hear this playlist every single night. Like, oh my God. So that to me wasn't like anything out of the box. But this one guy I never been to like on a roller coaster before. And so he flew us out to San Francisco of all places. Like me and him.
Oh, okay.
We went out to San Francisco and he got like this really dope ass hotel. And we got into a car and he didn't tell me where we were going, and we drove all the way up to like Six Flags, and I thought that was just so unique and like so dope. It's like those things that are rare that I really like to do.
They were listening is what you're
like
saying.
really listening. Like there was another guy where I told him like, man, like I used to love paintballing like as a kid, you know, if you grew up West Coast, especially near a desert, paintballing was the move. And so an ATVing, and next thing I know, like the next day he had this whole thing set up, like rented out like this race car track where we can like drive the cars around. We went paintballing. So it sounds so small, but because I didn't have like roller coasters growing up, or like,
I don't think it sounds small, Rich. I think it's pretty unique.
Yeah, like, I thought those were like the, and I'm not bougie. Like I don't like bougie things. Like most girls are gonna be like, yes, I want to go on a private plane, and that'd be the best thing, and I want to go to these nice ass restaurants or like go shopping. I'm just not like that. Like I like those low key, truly like actually fun things. Like if I die tomorrow, I don't give a fuck if I ate Mastro's or if I ate McDonald's, but I definitely fucking care if I did something epic the night before.
Adventurous, it sounds like it. Okay, got you. How do guys get to you? Do they have to be athletes?
No, I'm telling you. I have, and I'm not kidding you, I have DMs of men asking if they could pay me $15,000 to date me, and I'm like, prostitution is illegal. Thank you for your time. I've literally had people ask if they could watch me murder somebody and then have sex in their blood. And then I have the extreme opposite of athletes, and I'm just sitting here like, where are the businessmen? Where are the doctors? And where are the lawyers? And I always say it to my baba. My baba goes, you think people with respectable jobs have time to be on social media? And I'm sitting here with my
parent answer, though.
I know, and I'm sitting here with my respectable job on social media. I'm like, oh shit, I'm never on it, sir.
You have a profession where it's mostly males, I should say. Is that fair to say? Because I don't know your industry like that. It's just what I've seen growing up, okay?
Yes.
Those dudes are not like hitting up on you?
No. if you go into a courtroom,
Okay.
you're going to see the stereotypical of old Caucasian males,
Okay.
predominantly.
Okay.
And now that this newer generation is coming up, the zillennials or whatever they call 92 to 98 now, we're now just like coming up.
Okay.
So when I go into a courtroom, it's very rare that there's going to be a bunch of people my age, and more so I have such different thinking than they do, like very different thinking, and I'm extremely passionate about what I do. So it's very hard to get a man to ask you out after you belittle him and berate him in court.
Got it. So low-key, they kind of build certain negativity against you, like they just...
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, unfortunately, in the world that we live in, when you're a female with a strong voice and you're a female that does not back down and says what she thinks, they're going to label you a bitch. People, especially men, think I'm a bitch because I don't back down. But at the end of the day, I get shit done, and
Right.
I'm making a change. So they don't have to ask me out. That's fine.
Talking about making a change, let's talk about, if possible, some of the cases you represented, or at least just kind of give me like big picture, you know.
So I was working in the public defender's office when I was in law school. I was able to be a clerk. A clerk is basically a law student that acts as an attorney under an attorney. So I'm able to be on cases, go to trial, be sitting next to them, write up motions, do all of the legal work that an attorney does. But obviously it gets signed off, it gets reviewed during trial. Clearly they're the predominant ones doing everything because I don't have a license, so it's not like I could stand up there and do my deal. But I primarily was in juvenile. So I worked with juvies in Inglewood as well as Compton.
Okay.
And I was assigned to mostly gang related cases. It was more of like a specialty to me, and I more so sought them out than anything else as well, just because I really felt like these kids needed to be talked to, not in a berating way and not by somebody that they can't relate to. They need to be talked to somebody that looks more like them and dresses more like them. And you know, I have a whole neck tattoo and I don't look like a typical lawyer, and I don't have a typical life background of a lawyer. So these kids, I feel like, related to me better. So I dealt with a lot of very violent cases as well. There was murder cases, there was burglary, armed burglary, a lot of gang shootings, drive-bys, like small stuff too, such as robbery, which if people don't know the difference between like robbery and theft, it's pretty much just kind of like the amount. And robbery requires like a certain amount of force, but a lot of times when people hear robbery, they think of a gun. That's armed robbery. Robbery, like if you have a purse and I do this and I touch you, that's robbery because there was like a force to it.
Got it.
So I dealt with small stuff and big stuff as well. I did adults for a little bit, but that didn't last too long. And plus, I predominantly only want to work with kids too. I feel like in this society, especially with social media, people put such high pressure and high standards on themselves because of what they're seeing on social media. And people sometimes forget that you only see on social media what people want you to see.
Very true.
And so you're comparing yourself to these things that are extremely fictitious. Even if you were to have looked at my Instagram, you would never think that I was stripping during that time. You would never think I was doing bottle service during that time. It's not like I posted about it.
Right.
So it made it seem like I had my shit together when I didn't. And I feel like it's so toxic because I see so many girls come into my DMs saying, you know, they think that they're going to give up. They just can't do this anymore. Like they haven't made it yet, but like somebody like me at my age has made it. And it just made me realize, like, girl, I'm a stripper. Just because you're not exactly where you want to be, I was. And I feel like if success was easy, everybody would be successful.
Facts, yeah.
But the definition of success is getting your ass fucking beat, but getting the fuck back up. Despite what that means, you know, you hear these inspirational speeches and I'm like, okay, well, you're talking about how hard it was when you were already in your career field, when you were starting out, and people don't talk about the before.
Right.
And so I had a law degree, but I was a stripper. And I just hope that people take that into perspective. You could be waiting tables right now, or you could be a janitor, or you could be an accountant and not want to be an accountant. And it doesn't mean that you're not on the right path, and it doesn't mean you're not going to be successful. In fact, to me, it means the opposite, because you're putting in the work and you're grinding for it so unbelievably hard that when that opportunity comes, you're going to be the hardest working person there because you had like some of the biggest humps to get over in order to be there as well. Everyone's timing is so different. You can be Jeff Bezos and a billionaire when he's like in his 50s, or you could be, you know, a Kylie Jenner and a billionaire at like 19. And it's no one's place to say when it's your time, but just because you don't have the current job that you're loving doesn't mean you're not going to get there. You just have to be like persistent with it.
So you seem to be very determined. You seem to be very focused. I feel like where you come from, there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of emotions. Or at least a normal person will feel that way, right? What drives you? What keeps you going? Like, you seem so motivated, so driven.
Kids, to be honest, as I was growing up, like I obviously wanted to be a lawyer because of how it made me feel at that time and wanting that freedom to have a better life. But as you're growing up and you're seeing things in this world, you are either blissfully ignorant because you've been given such a good life that you don't really see the world around you, or you are a racist piece of shit. And there's no in-betweens. There's really no in-betweens. And so as I was growing up, I was noticing the difference. I was noticing how kids were treated in rougher areas, and kids of color were being treated, and kids at ASU were being treated. You know, I would see these white kids with middle class, upper class families that were getting DUIs and doing these horrible things, but never even getting arrested. Like the cops would just call their parents, whereas that would never happen like out here. And it would never happen to a black person, a Hispanic person, a Middle Eastern person. It just would never happen. And I also noticed it with, although I am a minority, I realize I have a privilege to my minority. I am light-skinned. And so I would see that I would receive racism, but I wouldn't receive oppression. Unless I'm in an airport or have something on me that's misconstrued as a bomb, I'm not going to really feel oppression. So the more I saw that, and the more that I saw that it was so detrimental to these kids, I knew I had to do something about it. And my Baba said something, and it sounds so simple, but it's so brilliant. He was like, think about a bird. Every time you see a bird, it doesn't have a house, it doesn't have a kitchen, but it's alive every day, and it has food. And there's three ways that that bird is going to get its food. It's either going to be given the worm, or it's going to be given the opportunity to eat the worm, or it's going to take the worm by force, because you have to survive, you have to live. And so these kids in the system and being targeted, they're the kids that have to fight for life. They have to fight for their safety, they have to fight for their education, they have to fight for a peaceful home, like in their actual home life. They have to fight for food, they have to fight for absolutely everything that should be a basic necessity in life. And when you fight for something, it's never going to be peaceful. That's not the world that they live in. And so instead of fixing our system and truly giving kids equal opportunities, we target them and we arrest them and we call them criminals and thugs and gangsters, and then you throw them into the system. And what do you think the system is going to do to them? You really think that's going to help them? You really think being in juvie, being in jail, being at camp is really going to help them? Or do you think they're going to be angry and they're going to start believing the label that you've labeled them, and then they're going to come out and they're going to keep on repeating it? I think it's some insane statistic, like over 80% of foster kids end up in the system. Like 90% of them don't go to college, and that's not because of their ethnicity, that's because of the life that they're born into. And like random tangent, but something that's so easy to help these kids is a rearrangement of property taxes. So property taxes is what funds public schools. And so if you live in Beverly Hills, where it's like $10 million for a home, your property taxes are going to be absurd. Their high schools look nicer than my college, nicer than my law school. They have the best teachers, the best education, so much money. But if you go to a place like Compton, if you go to a place like Inglewood, there's very few homes. And the homes there are not expensive. They're run down. So it has such little funding for an education. You have low security. You have not enough teachers. You don't have enough supplies. You don't have enough for after school program activities. You don't have enough for free tutors. You don't have enough for free ACT and SAT, which all these other kids are getting. So please tell me how it's an equal opportunity. It's not. So that's what just kind of got me going. And
at what age did you figure this out?
College. If you go to ASU, at the time I went to ASU, you will not see, I did not see many minorities. At least, you know, I was
during that period.
Yeah, during that period. I was only on campus for a year and a half, but I didn't see many minorities. It's a very majority dominant area, and I saw how different everybody was treated. And when I was asking them, you know, like in my sorority and in fraternities, their parents all had money. You know, even if it was an absurd amount of money, they were still living comfortably. I didn't meet anybody. And I went to the largest school. It has the most students every year. I did not meet anybody that came from a rough background. And not that I met everyone on campus, but I met a decent amount of people. And that's not a coincidence. And it's not a coincidence when I see how the police are letting these kids off because they don't want to ruin their future, but they don't care about the 15-year-old. I mean, I've had a 13-year-old that I've met with that they're trying to try as an adult. Their feet can barely touch the floor at this point, but they're not worried about their future.
Right.
So that's when I really started seeing it, because I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, but I didn't know what type of lawyer until I went and saw saw all of these discrepancies, and just really opens your eyes when you actually see it.
Got you. Let's switch it up a little bit. Any business ventures you got going on?
Yes, I do. So in February, I'm launching my company. It will be called Royalty Cosmetics, and I obviously am very into makeup. This is a full beat, a full process to lie to everybody that I look like this. So I'm going to be opening up my own cosmetic company, and through that cosmetic company, I'm going to be taking a large amount of the profits in order to do pro bono work, which is free work for minority kids living in the inner city. So not only is when you purchase my cosmetics are you getting, a product for you, but a portion of what you just spend is going towards helping rectify and fix a very racist system and helping defend children.
That's so dope, bro. It just sounded like you just told me your vision statement, or you know what I mean, like the company statement. So that's coming when again?
That'll be launching in February.
So that's February of 2021. So what type of work are you doing from today to the point it launches? Like, are you selecting the items? Like, what's the process like?
It's actually been 2 years already that I've been working on this. It takes a lot longer than people would imagine. So not only did I have to custom make all of the colors, I had to custom make all of the formulas. I've probably gone back and forth on formulas and colors a minimum of 15 times by now. I have to design the packaging, pick the weight. I have to make it FDA approved. I have to LLC the company. I have to create a business account in order for tax I was going to say tax evasions. I swear to God, I'm not doing that. Tax write-offs. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. And then at the same time, it's not like I'm not doing anything with law. You know what I'm saying? I am doing stuff. Of
course, right.
So, like the Ahmaud Arbery case. So I did a bunch of research for that. And obviously I don't live in Georgia and I'm not an attorney in Georgia. But I did a bunch of work on that by researching, writing, watching that video, time-stamping that video, putting it into a legal argument, into a legal brief to send off to the Georgia bar.
Okay.
Because I had an issue with the district attorney.
Really?
In my opinion.
Disclaimer.
In my opinion, to be violating several ABA rules.
Okay.
And professional responsibility rules. So I'm still doing stuff as well as stuff for Black Lives Matters as well on the legal side, and offering my services for free, as well as creating this whole company. But it should be done by February, launch by February.
Do you currently work for a law firm?
No, so I work for myself.
Okay. Rachel, you cracking me up. When you say you work for yourself, how does someone reach you to hire you, or how does that work?
So a lot of it will be word of mouth, because I know a lot of attorneys. They will reach out to me asking me if I could come in, because you can hire outside just for certain things.
Okay.
So I will either get that, or because of the people I've dated, they will the only good thing that came out of them, they will reach out to me with organizations or lawyers that they know that are needing pro bono legal assistance. During the Black Lives Matter protest, they needed lawyers to help for bail hearings for the protesters. So that's a lot of how I get reached out to, as well as I'll just find certain things that really bother me that I'll just start working on.
Got it. So how do you get paid if it's pro bono?
Either I'm not getting paid and I'm just gonna be giving my services and my time, but for nonprofit organizations, when you're a nonprofit organization, you are able to file with the city and get grants.
Okay.
And you're also able to get donations. And so through grants and donations, you're able to pay out the people that are helping you with nonprofit organizations.
Okay, got you. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's so tricky, because I want to say I see myself
speaking to existence.
Yeah, speaking into existence. I want to see myself as a very successful company. Usually takes around the 4 or 5 year mark to really hit that big success in the cosmetic world. And I want to hit that big success. I want to be that Huda Beauty brand, that Fenty brand that you know the name of, especially because of the cause it has. But more importantly, I hope that I'm changing certain laws in regards to children, incarceration and juvie with children as well. And it feels weird because I never want to say exactly where I see myself in 5 years, because life has so many twists and turns, and that's the unpredictable but beautiful thing, double-edged sword about it. And I don't want to be this is what I'm gonna do, and then in 5 years I'm I'm a liar.
But it's hard to believe, Rachel, just because if you think about your upbringing and where you started and where you are today, a lot of it is things that you I feel like you envision it.
Yeah.
And you work hard for it too. It's not something that's just you woke up and you became an attorney. I mean, you mentioned you failed the first test.
Yes.
So I don't want to say I watched it in Netflix or maybe I just heard it from someone, but how difficult is that test? Can we talk about that?
The California bar exam is the hardest legal exam in the world, not just America. It's the hardest legal exam in the world. And people argue that it is one of the, if not the top hardest exam to pass, again, in the world. But it is the hardest legal exam and test to pass in the United States.
And you passed it, bro.
Second time. First time was almost there.
When you didn't pass it the first time, did you go through emotions? Like, did you cry? Were you frustrated?
No, this sounds weird. I thoroughly understand I have childhood trauma and PTSD that I just refuse to get help with or acknowledge. But one of the benefits of that is that I like shove all of my emotions deep down inside and refuse to believe emotions even really exist at the time. So when I saw it, honestly, the first thing that popped in my head was, fuck. I have to sit there and study for this bitch for another 4 months. And it's not light studying. It is aggressive studying. The bar exam is so difficult that they expect you to give all of your time for it. So they literally have a thing called like a bar loan. And it's one of the few exams where you can actually take a loan out for a living.
No way.
Because you can't work. And so I'm sitting here like, I can't take out any more loans. I have $400,000 of debt for an education. And so back to the pull this bitch goes. and then also studying. So that was more of my mindset. But to be honest, I was happy that I didn't pass it. And that sounds weird, but a lot of what I want to do is inspiring the younger generation. And it's not very inspirational to hear like, you passed the first time.
Right.
Like it's so easy for you. But it's much more inspiring to hear like, I fucking failed. Like I did not fucking pass, but I didn't give up.
I can't even say did you study for the first one because it's an obvious question. So going into the second one, obviously you studied, but did you do something different, or you just studied for additional months and you just went hard in the books? Like,
yeah, so the first time around for 4 months for like 12 hours every day, no fail, I was studying.
Okay.
And then the second time around, I'm gonna be honest, I only studied 1 month.
Okay.
I did not want to. I was exhausted.
Procrastinating.
Yeah, it's my flaw in life. The first 4 months for that first exam, I was going over every single law, every single exception to the laws. And I'm telling you, I probably went through like 3,000 pages of outlines.
Wow.
Trying to memorize all of those damn words. And that is just pointless. There is absolutely no way in life you are going to have every single thing memorized. So the second time around, I condensed all of my outlines for every subject to 25 pages. And then I would read those for like a week. And after, like, say I did criminal law, I would do timed practice multiple choice questions on them. And then I would review the ones I got wrong. And then after that week, the next week, I shortened the 25 pages down again and shortened it down again. So by the final week, I was only studying 1-page outlines for each topic.
Wow.
And I would like hit trigger words to make me remember like the full law of it. And to me, that's just a much better way to study, because when you're studying thousands and thousands of pages, there's no way you're going to retain all that information.
Facts, yeah.
And also when you're studying like that, it's also like a mental psych out. And I tell people that a lot. It's not that you're not smart. It's that you're mentally psyching yourself out. When you're looking at so much amount of work and how much you have to do, what you're thinking about is that the whole time. And when you have condensed versions and you go in a little bit more relaxed, your mind is going to be more willing to absorb this information and retain it, and you're going to know it better. Like if I go into the exam with my 3,000 pages and I can only remember a sentence, I'm not going to be able to do anything. But if I have my 1 page memorized, you can fluff it up to sound better.
Right. Facts. Okay, so I'm going to change the subject completely, okay?
Let's do it.
All right, let's talk about sex. Let's start with favorite position.
I would be a smartass and say CEO, but I understand that's not the portion of this segment.
I love that answer, though. Oh, that's a classic. I'm keeping that one.
So, because of my phenomenal past work backgrounds of being a stripper,
they're fucking with athletes, bro. I'm sure the stamina is at a certain level, right?
It's fantastic. Well, they're cheaters, they're liars. Don't believe anything they're gonna say.
Hey, I heard
ever.
cheaters are good in bed, though. No? Okay.
Okay, because I'm a stripper, I do a lot of positions. And not like, you know, the basic where women are like, oh, from behind. I'm like this, like the Fashion Nova top, pretty much. And so I would say that like my favorite position is like not just reverse cowgirl, because you're really not going to get much stimulation that way. But if you do reverse cowgirl and lean forward and like put your hands down and like start twerking, like literally as if you're doing a pole trick, it stimulates the clit.
Really?
And it's the best position. It's a lot of work that you're going to get tired real quick, but it's great.
Can you finish in that position?
Oh yeah, but like I'm gonna like get it going, and once I know like I'm close, because I know like he ain't gonna finish it, I have to finish it. I don't know why men don't know about the magical clit, but it's there. Find it. But I'll finish on that one. But like it's a hard ass position, man.
Sounds extremely difficult. It sounds like low key, like you're gonna burn out in less than 5 minutes or whatever it may be.
If there's any strippers or dancers watching this, they're gonna understand the position I'm talking about, because I know they do it, and probably because our jobs require so much stamina at the time, dancing for hours.
Facts, yeah.
I'm pretty solid.
Yeah.
I'm pretty fucking
Okay,
solid.
okay.
I'm the real athlete in the bed.
It sounds like it. Fetishes. You have any?
To be honest, I wouldn't say I have any fetishes. In fact, there's some fetishes that are just fucking weird.
That's for sure.
And there's no shame, because like, don't get me wrong, I like the handcuffs. I like the whips, like all of that, like having toys in bed. But like when a man wants you to use it on him, I'm just like,
Has that happened?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
This guy told me like he wanted to be my sub and wanted me to be the dominant.
Okay.
And he wanted me to like chain him up and like insult him and like whip him. And I'm like, if I wanted a pussy, I would go find a girl, and I could pull a bitch if I want to pull a bitch.
Facts.
So like, no, like that should be done to the female. We should be enjoying that process.
Right. As far as a guy doing something to you that you either felt was awkward or weird, did you have those moments?
No, there was this one time, it was the worst experience of my life. We went out to eat, and like we had Mexican food.
Okay.
And like he loves hot sauce, and like just had it, you know, basically drinking the damn thing. And then like we go to have sex, and he goes to eat me out, and my vagina was so on fire.
God, I didn't think of that.
I was like screaming. And it doesn't stop. You don't shower this off. It like absorbs into your body. And oh, my clit and my vagina was on fire forever. Every time I peed, it hurt for like 3 days.
Oh my God, poor thing. Did you guys finish though? Or did you like immediately like, yo, you're making my shit burn, and this stopped?
Yeah, it wasn't a slight burn.
So it's like immediate you jumped in the shower, I'm assuming, or what happened?
Yeah, I jumped in the shower. I was trying to think of like, what do you do, lemon juice or something? But that's not gonna make sense.
I heard milk works, but I think I saw it in a video. I was like, oh shit, it balances, I guess, your situation down there. Okay, got it. What's the number one request you get from guys that you're dating or seeing, whatever it is, when it comes to bed? Like, is there anything that they're into when it comes to you?
To me specifically, because I have a big ass, they always, and it gets boring. You can't fuck someone from behind forever. Like, that's kind of boring. But they always want to fuck from behind, or they want to film.
Oh, let's talk about that. Let's talk about filming. How do you feel about that?
I think if I'm in an actual relationship with you, I would say serious relationship, but my relationships, besides like one of them, they haven't really been that serious. But to me, serious is like past 3 months. If you make it past 3 months, like we're super serious at this point.
Engagement recovery.
No, we're not gonna go that far.
No?
But we're serious enough to make a sex tape, which is almost
3
better
months.
than an engagement ring. To me, if you're in a relationship, I'm cool with that, like 100%. But like if I'm not dating you, to be honest, like I don't know you. You probably don't have that much respect for me, and like I don't know who you're gonna show. But at the same time, and maybe this is just my quarantine brain thinking, because I haven't seen a man now until like today. But at this point, I'm like, you should leak it, because my nudes are so fire and my body's so fire that I've been thinking of leaking it myself just to brag.
Oh my God, Rachel.
But also, I'm a lawyer, so let's not do that. No one's gonna hire me.
OnlyFans? Would you do OnlyFans?
No, I've never done OnlyFans, and that's no judgment to OnlyFans. In fact, I kind of think OnlyFans is kind of a dope idea.
Right.
I have some girlfriends that have done it and still do it, and to me, it's like a strip club in your hand.
Yeah, facts. Yeah,
which is solid.
Right.
Because the biggest pain in the ass about being a stripper is actually getting your ass out of fucking bed.
Right.
And going and being around humans.
Right.
But this way, you're not around humans.
Right.
And you can make that amount of money. And I know some girls that like have sex on it and do stuff like that, girl, do it. Pornhub takes a portion of that money anyway, so like fuck that, bypass it. I don't do OnlyFans, and it's not because I think it's bad, obviously I don't, but I'm very happy to say I'm not at a place in my life anymore where I have to dance or do stuff like that in order to get money. And also, I've said this 20 times, but I'm a lawyer, and that really can't be out there.
Yeah, that would be a bad mate.
Like a strip club, you can't have phones. You know what I'm saying? You can't take pictures.
Right.
So I know that would never have gone anywhere, but OnlyFans, you could screenshot that shit. You can record that shit.
For sure.
And I don't need that being out there. The only problem I have with OnlyFans,
tell me,
like big problem, is that when quarantine happened and everyone lost their jobs, everybody was like, men and women, you go, girl, like, way to get that money, way to hustle, you bad bitch. Where the fuck was that when I was a stripper? I was a whore and a slut and compromising my morals. I just wanted that same energy. Like, I almost wanted to do it for a day just so I could like get that energy and be like, whoo.
I heard the OnlyFans been around for like 2 years, you know, but I didn't know that. By the way, I didn't know that. Yeah, we had a guest here who put me up on game on that. Shout out to Karina. I asked her like, how long you been doing OnlyFans? I think she mentioned like, oh, just a few months, but it's been around since like 2 years ago. I'm like, what the hell? I didn't know. I thought it was pretty new, like online website, whatever it may be. So that's crazy though. That's crazy. But yeah, OnlyFans, they're securing the bag out there. So that's what's up. Going back to this whole sex questions. So we understand your favorite position. We kind of understand what the guy asked out of you, right? What do you think as far as guys lasting? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? What's the length of time where you're like, okay, now you're doing too much. You're going to, you know, what's your opinion on that?
Okay, it kind of sucks for men because if you don't last long enough, we bitch and make fun of you. And if you go too long, we're just going to cut it off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like this fine line. Because to be honest, I don't want to be fucking for an hour. I have things to do. I know that sounds crazy, but I have things to do. And not only that, but honestly, for a female, it does not feel good.
Okay.
Like, you get too much stimulation. It honestly doesn't feel good when you're fucking for that long. Like, I had this one boyfriend that could literally fuck for like 2 hours. And at first I was trying to be a champ. And then after that, I was like, I'm done with you. Like, I'm breaking up with you. Like, this is not the move. Like, you're either going to have blue balls 24/7 or like, I'm moving on. But like, it's so disappointing when it's like 5-10 minutes. Because you're like, or at least me, like, I'm that bitch. I know I'm that bitch. I haven't even been able to like show you I'm that bitch.
Right.
That I can do pole tricks on 9 inches as well. So it's like heartbreaking. And like, you guys get blue balls, but we also get like a form of blue balls where like you feel like a heartbeat in your vagina and it's very uncomfortable.
Okay.
I don't want to sit with that, but I also don't want to be fucking for an hour and a half. So I would probably say 30-40 minutes.
Magic number.
Yeah.
Size.
I've only had really, really big.
You can only handle really, really big, Rich? Is that what
I've only had really, really big.
Okay, what is really big?
I would say the smallest I had, which was small, was like 7, around 7 inches.
Rachel, you do realize the average is 6, right? So, yeah, that's the average. That's according to Google.
You also know if you Google your symptoms, they're going to tell you you're dying, right?
That's true. That's facts. But okay, so 7.
No, that's not that big.
No, right. That's the smallest is what you're saying.
Yeah, that was the smallest. There was this one guy that was really, really small, but I just broke up with him instead.
Because he's too small?
Honey, no, I'm telling you.
No, I've heard stories. How small?
I mean, my toothbrush would make me gag more. Like, it was small. Like, you could be a virgin and not feel it. And so, like, I wasn't going to add a body count for that.
So, hold on. So, when you get to the situation where you see it, I'm assuming you saw it, right? So, what happened at that moment?
I said, we ain't doing this.
Just like that?
Yeah, just like that. I said, we ain't doing this.
What does he say, bro?
He was just like confused. He's like, what do you mean, babe? Like, I love you so much. I'm like, no, I don't care how much you love me.
How long did you guys see each other, date each other, whatever it may be, before you got to that point?
Okay, so in my early 20s, I think I was like 22, I was like dead set on like, I'm not gonna have sex with anybody unless they're my boyfriend. Every girl goes through that phase at one point until you realize like that's the dumbest fucking logic to have. But I had that logic. So we never did anything. And so we were dating for like 2-3 months, and then we were going to have sex, and I saw it, and that's when it clicked. That's why you fuck before you're in a relationship, because now this is awkward because you know I'm breaking up with you because your dick is small.
That's cold, bro. So nothing happened, no body count.
Absolutely not.
All right, let's go to another extreme. Biggest.
Oh, fuck. I dated this one guy who played basketball, and I'm not kidding you when I'm telling you, like, it was like this thick. And I was like, now we're having to break up because it's too big. I'm like Goldilocks of cocks. It was too small, now it's too big, and it's not just right. So, no, I couldn't. At first, I was like, mama didn't raise no quitter. I mean, she didn't raise you, but if she did raise you, she wouldn't have raised no quitter.
Right.
Like, you got this. It's like the Mount Everest of dicks. And then I realized as I was trying to put it in me.
Oh, so you did try?
No, I did try. I tried.
Okay.
I'm not fucking up my body to have painful sags and be ripped from like 2 holes to 1 hole. And then like no one's going to enjoy me afterwards.
So you...
Nope. Dad had to break up with him too. I told you I'm like Goldie Cox.
Rachel, do you catch feelings, bro? Is there such thing as love coming from you? I feel like you're so cold. Like, you've talked about so many breakups. Like, it's like nothing.
I would say the last relationship that I just ended, that was my first true relationship where I was a dumb bitch and thought I was in love. And I will say that was the one time that, like, I really did have, like, a crazy amount of feelings. But other than that, no.
Crazy amount of feelings. Like love? Like, you mean you were in love?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, got you. Okay, got
And
it.
I learned to never do that again.
Don't say that, man.
I'm just kidding. But no, other than the last one, nah.
Okay. And then rewinding a little bit. So what do you think is your size? What do you think is kind of like a happy medium for you or whatever?
A happy medium would probably between like 8 to 9. But honestly, it's not even so much about length. Like, obviously, don't be like 2-3 fucking inches. But it's more about like girth.
I've heard that from other guests.
Yeah. Like, you want to feel full. You don't want to feel like you have a broom up your vagina poking your esophagus.
No one has ever explained it like that, but I got you, Rachel. I got you. I think I might have asked you a similar question, but what's the weirdest thing that a guy has done to you?
Weirdest thing that a guy has done to me. Let's think. Oh, perfect. This has to be hands down the weirdest. He wanted to role play. I was 100% down for role playing. But he picked me out this outfit that I was like, this isn't sexy at all. Like, at all. Not in the slightest bit sexy. Like, it was like almost like a nun-ish looking outfit.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, like, sounds good. And so we're going to have sex, and like he's going to lift up this like kilt looking thing and like going to put his fingers inside of me. And then he was like, let me call you mommy. I was like, excuse me? I'm not your fucking mother. I raised myself. I don't have time to raise you, child. And then I stopped and I was like, oh my fucking God. I was like, whose clothes are these? They were his fucking mother's.
No. Oh my God. And he answered that?
Mm-hmm. And you wonder why I refuse to have feelings.
Yeah. I would be corrupted after that.
I had my boyfriend propose to another woman. Someone wanted me to dress up as their mother for foreplay. It's been a great experience.
You don't sure it's the athlete syndrome? You don't think it's the athlete syndrome?
What you mean?
I mean, like, I feel like you need to expand into the professional field.
No, I really, really want to.
Okay.
But I don't know how. Like I'm telling you, before quarantine happened, I had this plan to go apply to top businesses to work for them as their secretary just to meet them.
Have you tried apps, by the way?
No, I haven't.
No, besides Instagram and...
No, because like I said, I've met everybody online at Instagram. To me, Instagram is the same as Tinder, the same as Hinge. It's an app. I'm clearly dating people off there. I really want to meet somebody organically, like truly organically. I've never done that besides like high school.
Okay, got it. What do you consider organically? Like going to a restaurant and meeting somebody, or like being at a club? Because that's another thing. Would you opened up to meet somebody?
Well, I was trying to open up by like lying and manipulating that I'm a business secretary and like having them fall in love with me. But not a lot of people want to hire an overqualified secretary that's also a lawyer. It doesn't leave a lot of time to be a secretary. I would say probably not a club, to be honest. First of all, I go to them like 2 times a year, and it's like for Destiny's and Maya's birthday. And like,
and those are best friends?
Yeah, my best friends. And then I cap it out. Like, that's it.
Shout out to Destiny.
I love you, bitch. She was just on a interview with Big Boy.
I saw that, girl. She blowing up, girl. Come on, don't forget about the little people here.
You guys need to check her out. But yeah, so I go out for their birthdays. I don't want to meet anyone in the club. because they're all the fucking same. They're all like the Fashion Novas of Los Angeles. Yeah, I would say just like being out, like whether it be a restaurant or whether it be like you're shopping on Melrose or like, you know, like I like to the skate park or like the basketball courts a lot. So like something like that. Like I want it to be organic.
Gotcha. Okay, that's dope. Checklist for guys that you would date: height, body type.
I actually am very proud to say that I've dated every single race and like every single height you can imagine. I mean, obviously most of them are athletes, so there was a specific body type, but I'm more of like, I forgot like what the word is called, but it's like where you're more sexually attracted to their mind than like actually what they look like. So to me, if I can have like a really good conversation with you, very stimulating, like that's like my checklist. But on that checklist, I do want to say for a while it was like, I want someone that's honest and I want someone that's loyal. Then I realized that's the bare fucking minimum. We need to stop praising men for doing the bare fucking minimum. Like it's so bad that women are praising you for being a decent human being.
Right.
It's absurd. That's honestly how bad it is. Like you said excuse me after you sneezed, you're a king. Right. Like that's what it's come down to. My now checklist is honestly just like stimulation. Like I feel like if I can really connect with you on that level, then I can really get to know you.
Okay.
I know that sounds really lame and nerdy.
No, it sounds grown. I think that's just what it comes down to. Physical attraction is important though, right?
Yeah, physical attraction is obviously really important. Like I know people say that once you get to know someone that they become more attractive, but like there's an extent to that. Like I'm just being honest.
No, of course, yeah.
To that, but I do find every race attractive, but I have mainly dated Hispanic and Black.
Got you. Let's go into kind of like a deeper question. If you can go back in time, either talk to yourself or if you can just give advice to anybody that's turning 18 or, you know, they're going into that adult life, what type of advice would you give? What things you would either change, things you would work on, things that need to focus on, that kind of stuff?
I don't feel like there's anything that I would tell my actual self, because if I were to have changed anything, I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing now. I don't think I'd be the person that I am now. But I would say that my best advice for people that are younger, especially like I said earlier with the age of social media and pressure and all of that, first of all, boys and girls that have normal jobs like lawyers and doctors and business owners or technicians, you're still winning. Like I just want to throw that out there. If anyone's listening, you're still winning. I mean, hopefully you're of 18, because what we talked about before, don't watch if you're under 18. But if you're of 18, you're still winning. But I think my best advice to give to them is no matter how hard it is, no matter how difficult it is, do it. Find a way to do it. Like I can speak from personal experience that nothing is ever too big to overcome. You're just making excuses because you're scared. The biggest thing that's stopping everybody from actually achieving what they want is fear. It's the most crippling thing that humans experience in general, and it's usually caused by yourself. You want something, you know you want something, but you're so scared that if you give it your all, you're not going to make it and it's not going to happen. So you don't even try, or you make excuses. I don't have the money. I'm not in the correct city. I don't have the right look. I'm not that smart. And they're all really excuses that you're making because you're your own worst enemy. So no matter how impossible the obstacle looks like, you're so much more powerful than you're ever going to realize. This is something that I told myself at a young age, and it sounds really morbid, but every second you're alive, it's 1 second closer to dying. And it sounds morbid, but it really puts your life into perspective. So instead of sitting here wasting each second that you have on being crippled, take every second you have on pushing yourself and advancing yourself. And even if no one else around you believes in you, I believe in you. And if you reach out to anybody else that has been in those positions, they're going to believe in you too. And so if you need that push, find somebody in your field that has been through similar things as you to mentor you and give you encouragement, because just one person believing you really changes your entire life, and it makes you believe in yourself too. And I would also say to be aware of the people you have around you. Your 5 closest friends truly define who you are. And if you're hanging around people that have no goals and no plans, or are hateful people, you know, say racist comments or homophobic comments or sexist comments, that is who you are too. And when you hang around people like that, you are not going to go anywhere in life, and you're going to become so hateful and so bitter that you're going to become lost. So really make sure the people you put around you are like-minded like you for your future, not just your present.
That's amazing advice, bro. That's crazy. And that's a good segue to come to an end to the podcast. So any shout outs you want to give out before we end it?
Yeah, I first want to thank you so much. This was actually a lot of fun. I really like this thing, just to let you know. I really like
dope.
I never thought I'd be so vain to say I like hearing myself, but I have a really great voice. But,
that's hilarious.
I'd also like to say thank you to my Baba, probably the only person in my life that has never left and always encouraged and believed in me. So Destiny, she's one of my best friends, a businesswoman as well. She's always praising me and holding me up. Even when I fall on my face, my best friend Maya, I swear to God, that woman would grab a 22 and a shovel and kill you if you did anything to me. My little sister Abrar, she's actually taking the MCAT. She wants to go to med school. I could say a lot about her, but I was just going to make a bunch of jokes because she's my sister and she's very sensitive, so she would just cry. I would say also like just my best friends, Megan, Seth, Aubrey. It's the same circle that I've had for, like I said, it's so important to have a good circle for years, and they're always ride or die.
You're inspirational, bro. So it's amazing that we had the opportunity to have you here in the show and you share your story and give that kind of advice. You know, I personally admire you. You know, I've had quite a journey myself, and just hearing you out, man, it motivates me. So I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you for just sharing your thoughts, your opinions. I wish you nothing but the best. And I really believe strongly, and I hope we can do a podcast maybe down, a year, 2 years. But I think there's incredible plans coming your way. The energy that you have, the energy you put out, I just don't see it any other way. So thank you so much for coming on the show. We came to an end, people. I hope you really listened to what she had to say. Pretty incredible. That's it, man. Subscribe, tune in. All the tags, including her tag, will be on the YouTube video. So make sure you subscribe. We came to an end. We out. Peace.
Bye.